Hello, how you doing? Hey, Leandris, boo. Leandris, where your little tail been, girl? Where have you been, girl? I usually be seeing you drop off in the chats and stuff. I ain't been seeing you, Leandris. Now, I ain't talking about just my chat, because I know I ain't been fucking live, but I be usually seeing you around the streets, honey. Hey, Montoria. Okay. Montoria said, honey, the tea. Victoria said, "But what they got cooking now, honey?" I know, right? Look, y'all, I'm waiting. Well, I know it's not. Hold on. All right, I think here it is. I think this me, y'all. Let me cut me on mute. Oh, I unmuted me. Here we go. But yes, honey. Hey, Lynn, doing a do. Hey, Nat, boo. Thank y'all. Please like the video as y'all come in. We appreciate you. I thought I was on mute. There we go. Now we on mute. Now we is. Okay. Hey, Victoriously Love. How you doing? Your granddaughter turned 12. Oh, okay. Well, happy birthday, grandbaby. Happy birthday. So she put you back in there, huh? She got you a good workout. Hmm. What's up, Robbie? How you doing, honey? I be seeing you out here on the streets, right? I still see Robbie out here though. No, she ain't care on scandalous, did she, girl? Hey, Santa Ray, how you doing? Miss Bless had thank you for her gift, boo. She had did a live. Girl, you should have seen her. She ain't know what was coming either, and I ain't tell her what's coming. But girl, you couldn't tell her nothing, and I don't blame her. She loved her gift, Santa Ray. Thank you, boo. And don't y'all forget to like the video as y'all come in. We are on chapter 5 of the Untold Secrets by Douglas E. Hobson. And y'all, honey, we on chapter 5. For the ones that have been around for the first few chapters, y'all know they've been pretty tough, honey. These been some rough and tough ones. Broke you in your pockets. Yes, she did, boo. Hey, Pandies, Hair Candy, and more. How you doing? Okay. Well, honey, welcome, girl. Welcome. We on chapter 5. I'm gonna go ahead and get started because usually we do one chapter a week. Because this is some heavy shit, okay? And we do one chapter a week, so we on chapter 5. We only have 10 chapters. He did say this was volume 1, so it's a 3-part series. I believe I'm gonna go ahead and have to purchase the other 2 parts because yeah, I think this one is gonna kind of leave us hanging because we already in chapter 5, honey. We ain't even got past. I don't even know. Is he in his teenage years yet? So, honey, it's deep. All right, chapter 5 is titled Freedom. Things weren't getting any better. The psychologist had given me a diagnosis of bipolar disorder. I was having severe episodes of anger, irritability, and hostile behavior. I wasn't able to manage my anger. Timeouts and other disciplinary measures like seclusions and restraints became a huge joke to me. My anger was often triggered by stress. I was refusing to comply with requests and rules from the staff. I was deliberately annoying people because I was angry. I began blaming others for evil doings, and I became easily annoyed by other kids and by staff members. Oh, well, hell, he's damn near grown then. You getting annoyed and shit. Okay, here we go. As I sip, my resentful anger was being used. Am I buffering y'all? Am I buffering y'all? Okay, Leandra, thank you. Because I seen it buffering on my TV. Okay, I mean on my computer. My resentful anger was being used as a shield of protection from emotional distress. The medication wasn't working. It wasn't regulating my moods. I was still fighting and not getting along with staff or my social worker. Every Tuesday, they had what is called a treatment plan meeting where the doctors, social workers, and therapists meet to discuss their patients' progress and treatment options after their hospital stay. My Tuesday meeting was a little different. My meeting consisted of detectives, DSS, and a person who finally got someone to listen to what was really going on behind closed doors. The feelings that were going on inside of my head when I was the go wait when I wait okay the feelings that were going on inside of my head when I saw the gold shiny badges, the uniforms, officers standing at attention, my doctor who reminded me of Dr. Spock from Star Trek with his doctor coat and his glasses on the tip of his nose, my social worker in her red blouse and black skirt, my therapist with her black notepad and big laptop. The tension was thick. I was sweaty, nervous, and almost used the bathroom on myself. I hated to be in a crowd. I hate to be in crowded in, and everyone was staring at me like I was in big trouble, and I was very uncomfortable. The smell of the room was unbelievable. It had excitement, laughter, and sadness all at the same time. In my head, my first thought was, yes, my mother and my uncle are dead. But when I sat down, it was the complete opposite. My doctor opened the meeting and the others just fell in place. But the person who put this meeting together never said a word. All they did was smile. I was kind of confused because everyone else spoke their piece except that this person. When it was the detective's turn to speak, he started by saying the words that struck a big nerve. You know we love you. I went into defense mode. I started screaming and yelling and throwing things which caused an uproar and caused them to have to put me in seclusion and restraint. The restraints reminded me of the time when my mother handcuffed me to the railing and beat me for hours. All I could do was scream. I had to get a shot of medicine in my butt to help me calm down, which wasn't fun, which wasn't any fun. When I fell asleep, I dreamed about things that went on, and I had another out of body experience. This time, my spirit left my body and took me to back to the time when I was in my mother's womb. I saw the umbilical cord connected to me, and my spirit told me, just because you were fed from this cord doesn't mean you have to remain connected to the cord anymore. After my spirit told me that, I returned to myself and woke up. The restraints were off and the seclusion doors were open. I didn't understand that at all. I hated hearing, you know we love you. These were the same words my mother used to use after she finished having sex with me. The same words that had me in fear for my whole life. The same words that made me feel hopeless, helpless, pity, unworthy, shameful, and angry. This man who said he cared used to use these words of pain towards me. And the person who was in the room never spoke up for me. I thought they would, and this was a major setback for me. I became angry all over again. I began fighting the staff members. Then I had to move my roommate out of my room because I threatened to kill him in his sleep just because I wanted to leave so bad. But my time wasn't up, so I had to deal with the staff and other children who were there. After a couple of days went by, my doctor came to talk to me concerning the incident that happened. He apologized because he forgot to tell the people in the meeting room my trigger words. He explained to me that we needed to have this meeting and it was very important. There was some information that I needed to know and it was vital to my treatment. So Tuesday came again, and again I was nervous about to about what was going on, and I still was hoping in my head that the news was about my mother and uncle were dead. All the same people were in the room again, and the same person, Khalif, who only smiled at me, was there again, and all he did was smile. The doctor opened by apologizing for the last meeting going astray, and he asked me to accept his apology. The detective began to speak, and what he said to me was something I never expected in a million years. Something I had prayed and asked God for. Something that brought an overwhelming feeling to shit. Something that brought an overwhelming feeling to my heart. My heart started racing, my knees got shaky, and I began to cry so hard. My social worker came over and said, "This is what you needed." I wiped my face with the sleeve and sat up and started listening because I was lost. I had lost all my senses. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was screaming because I was happy, sad because this was my mother, afraid because I was afraid of the repercussions of the outcome. The state was finally charging my mother and uncle with molestation, abuse, and child neglect. This meant that I didn't have to suffer from their abuse anymore. But it also meant that I would have to testify and go through the rape process again. I wasn't happy about that. I was afraid to tell strangers what had happened to me, and for some strange reason, I was afraid to hurt my mother. Even though she had put me through 11 years of hell, she was still my mother. And I was so confused now, and I began to feel guilty. Why did I feel like I was the bad guy? Why did I feel like my heart was going to burst right through my chest? When I began to cry again, Khalif finally came over to hug me. He told me that my storm was over. His name was Michael, and he had quit his job at Kids Peace and decided he wanted to take me in and help me become who I was supposed to become. At Kids Peace, he always said, "It will be okay. I have your back." I was skeptical and wondered what was his hidden agenda was. What his hidden agenda was. Was he another pervert who just wanted to molest me? Was he going to hurt me? And what was his motive? I couldn't leave the hospital right away. I still had 15 more days there. Michael came to see me every day during visiting hours, which were from 7 to 10 every day. He would bring me clothes, candy, and on Fridays, he would order pizza for me if I hadn't gotten into any trouble that week. This meant the world to me. He was a man and a father figure, which I had always craved, and now I possibly had it, but I was nervous as all get out. The remainder of my hospital stay went smoothly until I had to talk to the investigators and the people and do the doll recording. Oh, excuse me, y'all. That was so hard to do because I didn't want to remember those nights of torture and pain. I had to describe in detail what my mother and uncle did to me. I cried the whole time I talked to the investigator. I fell back into a slump of fighting and being disrespectful to the staff, and I began to cut myself. This was my way to cope with the pain of strong emotions, intense pressure, and upsetting my relationship problems. I was dealing with feelings that were too difficult to bear and bad situations that I thought couldn't change. Another reason I began to cut myself was because I felt the need of desperate relief from the bad feelings that were happening. I wanted to jump out of my skin, and I used self-injury to calm myself down. I was numb and empty. I used self-injury to feel something. I used it for avoidance, to create a distraction, to get attention, and to punish myself. I felt like I didn't deserve to live, breathe, or even take up space. I was in an extreme emotional situation. I became emotionally sensitive and vulnerable and suffered from emotional illiteracy. I couldn't name my feelings, let alone formulate a pain for managing and coping with them. When Michael did things such as offering reassurance, talking to the investigators, letting me know I was safe for being there with him, and offering to help solve problems, it helped me not to want to cut myself anymore. The day had come where I had to deal with being recorded and used in the dolls. I was really nervous, but Michael came that night before and told me it was going to be okay. He said I had to do it because it was important and I wasn't going to have to suffer the humiliation of being molested anymore. I looked him in his face and said, "Yes, sir." The interview lasted 2 hours. I had to give detailed information. I went through the recordings like a champ, and it felt like I was getting over my fear because I finally had someone who really wanted to see me succeed and become a young man that I was born to be. My day had come to be released from the hospital and to return to a normal life. I was also returning to school. I didn't know how I would get back to a normal life without my mother. How would I how would I sleep in a bed without being in fear for my life? How would I adapt to just being a normal kid? Michael made me very comfortable. Even though the new house he bought only had living room furniture, a kitchen table, and his complete bedroom set, and a small black and white television, I was a little confused why he didn't have furniture in my room since he knew I was coming. But nevertheless, I was cool. We talked about things I never talked about before. We did things like bowling, and he always let me win. We played putt golf, and he beat me up. Wait, and he beat me because I couldn't seem to get the ball in the hole. We went to my favorite restaurant every Wednesday, McDonald's. I always got the number one Big Mac meal with no onions and a large Coke. He got those nasty chicken McNuggets with a large Coke, and that's where we really began to bond, and our relationship got stronger. I never got to see the sensitive side of Michael at Kids Place. He was always hard, rough, and very strict. I guess he had to be like that since it was his job. Who would ever thought that someone would care enough for me to quit their job and want to help me? I woke up on Saturday morning and he said, "Get up and get dressed." So I got up and got dressed. We went to the furniture store and he told me to pick out anything you want. I had the opportunity to pick out my own stuff. I was nervous that if I chose something, he would say no. But when I pointed it out, he said, "Are you sure that's what you want?" When I said yes, he told the man, "Put it on the truck. My son said he wants that." Wait 1 minute. Did Michael just call me his son? Did this man just call me his son? Nope, he didn't. I must be hallucinating again. I did forget to take my medicine this morning, so that might be the case. Later that afternoon, after the furniture was delivered, he went and brought me my own colored television and all the decorations for my room. We decorated with Spider-Man, which was one of my favorite heroes. He reminded me of an imaginary hero because he never cried, he always won his fights, and everyone was afraid to mess with him. After all the activities for the day, we sat down together and ate dinner, fried chicken, we burnt, which he burnt, mashed potatoes, green beans, cornbread, and a big glass of great Kool-Aid. 6 months went by and everything was going smoothly. School was good, but one Thursday morning, everything went south. Mike received a phone call saying we had to go to court for a custody hearing and that I had to be there. Why now? When everything was going great, why did I have to be there? I went to school that morning looking for trouble. I was looking for an excuse to beat someone up because I was mad I had to take it out on someone. Guess who was going to be in the courtroom? Yes, my mother. Ooh, let me take a drink to that child. Mama had to come to the courtroom. Mm-hmm. Right. Goodness, it sounds like it might get ugly. Yes, honey. All right. I woke up the next morning pretending to be sick. I was so nervous that I couldn't even eat my favorite breakfast of pancakes and bacon. I was shaking like a leaf on a tree, not knowing what to expect. Was my mother angry? Was she okay? Had anyone hurt her? All these things were racing through my mind, and Michael was just calm, cool, and collected like it was nothing for him. I didn't want to get dressed. A way I almost felt the way I used to feel when I heard the keys jingling at the door. I wanted to go run and hide in the closet, under my bed, or under the kitchen sink. I was terrified that someone was going to do something to me, and in that courtroom. What would happen if the judge decided to let my mother and uncle go? What if they tricked the judge into believing I was the cause of them doing what they did and the judge sent me away? What if they said I couldn't stay with Michael anymore and they tried to put me in another foster home? All these things were running through my head at one time, and my heart was racing. My hands and my body were sweaty. My legs were shaking, and I was crying so hard that my nose began to bleed. Just like the meeting in the hospital, Michael looked at me and smiled, and he said his famous words, "It's going to be okay. I got your back." That put my mind at ease. On the way to the courthouse, we stopped to get something to drink, and I said to Michael, "Why did you call me your son?" He simply said, "That's how I feel. I had a son, and he died at the age of 6, the same age you were when I first met you, and you look just like my son." I began to cry because I understood that there were a lot of parents who have children and don't want them. They treat them like trash and do any and everything to hurt them. Why was my mother just a vehicle to bring me to this earth because God knew that Michael was going to lose his son at the age of 6 when I was his son's replacement? Those thoughts were going through my head. We entered the courthouse and I walked in like I owned the place. Michael had on a fly black three-piece suit with a white shirt with cufflinks and a black and red and white tie. I had on a fly two-piece black suit with a white shirt, no cufflinks, and a red tie. We were sharp, but there was one problem. I was nervous as hell. I got to sweating again, and I was shaking. Oh man, was I shaking? But the whole time, Michael was cool. He opened the door to the courtroom, and the first face I saw was my mother. She was sitting there with her hair in cornrows, handcuffed in her orange jumpsuit, looking like she was mad at the world. She said something to me. I read her lips. She said, "I'm going to kill you when I get out of here." I ran out of the courtroom and screamed. I had never felt like this before. It was an overwhelming feeling. She was about to get me, or so I thought, and I couldn't stand to look at her. She was my worst nightmare. Michael came after me, and I told him what she mouthed to me. He hugged me so tight I thought my eyes were going to pop out of their sockets. He told me, "I told you it's going to be okay. She isn't going to hurt you anymore. I got your back. Now get back in this courtroom so we can get this over with." When we went back into the courtroom, the place was filled with all my family. Some I hadn't seen since I was 5 or 6. My favorite cousin, 2 of my aunties, one of my favorite uncles, and my grandmother, whom we called Big Mama. Michael had taken the time to contact my family to inform them of what was going on. He asked that they would be there to support what was going on. My auntie Sheba had an issue with someone from outside of the family trying to care for me. She had given Michael a hard time trying to take him to court to get custody for me. Big Mama, who was the peacemaker of the family, said that she would rather me be with someone from outside of the family since it protected me from our stupid family members who didn't believe what my mother and uncle had did to me, especially my uncle's children. My favorite uncle wanted me to come stay with him, but he was sick and dying from leukemia and couldn't take care of me. The investigators who came to see me at the hospital was there. My old social worker was there. Dr. Spock, or Dr. Williams, was there also. I didn't understand why they all had to be there. All of a sudden, a real deep voice said, "All rise." I thought I was in some kind of movie. The man's voice was deeper than Michael's. The judge came in, and I asked Michael, "Why does the judge have on a gown?" He chuckled and whispered, "It's called a roll." We all sat down, and then it began. I will end with this. Okay? So we gonna end chapter 5 with they got in the courtroom. Honey. They done got in the courtroom. Hey, Miss Pam, y'all. So, oh Lord, I don't know, child. They took her ass to court. At least they locked her ass up. Shit. Cause honey, for a minute, I didn't think the bitch was gonna ever go to jail. To be honest. Please like this video as y'all come in. Let's get real. Say, girl, I'm on a cliffhanger now. Like, what happened in that courtroom? We gonna see. Now we know why the grandmother didn't take him, okay? Because y'all know we was thinking that like chapter 2 or 3. We like, hold up, he got a grandmama? So the grandmama said, yeah, you might want to put him with somebody else because these niggas ignorant. They going to be trying to do something to the boy, you know. So that, I guess that makes sense. Grandmama know her family, huh? I guess you could say she know her family. Panda said that was intense. I know. That's why I said, yeah, I got to get part 2 on its way here because we already at chapter 6. So I'm going to have to go on and get online and get to part 2 and see what's going on because we got 3 more chapters before it gets here. And, oof, honey, I'm trying not to look at the next chapter, y'all. I'm just saying. I'm trying not to look at the next chapter. But yes, grandmama was trying to protect him. Because like I said, Leanne, at first we were like, he got a grandmama, why she ain't get him? The grandmama ain't she? But, you know, okay. Yes, it is getting interesting, victoriously loved. That's why I say I can't stop at the part 1, honey. I'm not gonna get 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. Y'all know I'm finna get out of here. Yes, we will be having Tuberty tomorrow. We having the raffle and Tuberty tomorrow. I'm not going nowhere this weekend or this Friday. So yes. Hey Betty White, Betty, I got your message. Did you want me to wait on you to get a P.O. box, honey? Since you did say something, girl, because if you hadn't said that, girl, I was gonna put your thing right back in the raffle. Sure was. But I know you said you got to get a P.O. box, so you just let me know if you want me to wait on you. I'll wait. Your gift ain't taking up that much room, girl. So you just let me know what you gonna do or what you wanna do. All right. All right, Miss Pam. I'm gonna holler at you guys later. Y'all have a good night. Like this video on y'all way out. And if y'all caught me at the end, just go ahead and rewind it. Y'all know it's not that long. Go ahead and rewind it and get the little tea child from chapter 5. Because we moving on to 6 next Thursday, 8 o'clock. All right, y'all. See y'all later. Y'all have a good night.